So here we are, still part two under the blazing hot sun. And it's just such a chilled vibe. I've got my foot up on some rocks in the sea and like just thinking, like trying to cast my mind back, but it's all gone. And I realised that, you know, we have to live for every moment. We have to live each moment, each minute. We have to continually reflect upon ourselves, our actions, our thoughts, our hopes and dreams. Because, sometimes life just gets in the way and we become mums, we become aunties, we still have our responsibilities as daughters, as wives, partners, irregardless of gender. We all seek that inner something, and it starts with peace. And peace isn't having no sound, which at times I've really thought that's what peace was. But peace, for me anyway, peace is something that's happening inside of you, something that's it's eternal, something that's changing in you, something that's telling you, you know what, I'm worth it. You know what, I fought the battle the best way I could with the tools that I had. We didn't all start out in life the same. I remember, when I was in care, I spent my whole life in care in Chislehurst, in a home that had 7 children. And, we had cleaners, we had cooks, we had people to play with us. Life was planned out and there was expectations. I had very, very good schooling, and although I didn't understand things at the time, I remember that I worked really hard at junior school, and one of the things I really loved was, I didn't love the French language, but I really loved English literature. And I think from as early as I can remember, words have always been important to me, and I've always wanted to know what words mean and how can we use them, and not use to hurt, but use to grow, use to create, use to empower. Our words mustn't be about breaking people down. Even when you've got to tell somebody the truth, there's a saying to say it in love, and sometimes people think that means being real to somebody, but it is what it is for each different person, if that makes sense. And I sit down now and I think to myself, when I had my first daughter, like the nurses and the doctors that I met in the hospital, they took me home with my daughter rather than me going to mother and baby home, because I'd always lived in care. And I think at the time I never understood what a blessing that was, to be fair. I was in hospital for a good 4 months because, as you can see, I'm tiny. And so when I carried babies, I had about 8 miscarriages and 1 baby that died, unfortunately. And I had to give birth to the baby, and the baby had passed away. And it's funny because at the time I was saying to the hospital that I couldn't feel the baby moving anymore, and they did a scan, and they was like, yes, the baby's still moving, the baby's still alive, but the baby wasn't alive. The baby was just moving around in the sack. And I think that when I did have my daughter, I didn't have a clue. Never having had a mother, I didn't know what a mother did, other than the chores that I'd, seen on the telly, because I'd never had to take any responsibility for anything.